Hi, my name is Chantal Erkenbrack, and for my research presentation, I've decided to better understand and analyze the concepts of learning, innovation, and creativity in organizations. Throughout this presentation, I'll give a brief and detailed overview of each concept and its importance in organizations and how they relate one to another. According to Eric Ambry, a communications professor at BYU, Idaho, brain theorists look at organizations and they ask, how can we create organizations that are capable of dealing with the complexity of modern life? How can we create organizations that can learn and get smarter and also be more innovative and creative, as well as come up with solutions to the problems that arise out of the modern world? You see, our answer lies in three pieces. Those pieces are learning, creativity, and innovation. We'll first start off by discussing learning and the importance of learning in an organization. Peter Senge once said, "Real learning gets to the heart of what it means to be human. Through learning, we recreate ourselves. Through learning, we become able to do something we never were able to do. Through learning, we re-perceive the world and our relationship to it. Through learning, we extend our capacity to create, to be part of the generative process of life. There is within each of us a deep hunger for this type of learning." Organizational learning is not a complicated concept, nor is it the same as individual learning. Learning by individuals within an organization happens through activities such as training, increasing skills, work experience, and formal education. However, like I said earlier, individual learning isn't the same as organizational learning. According to a published journal article on LinkedIn, Jason Silberman states that there, quote, "is no way to overstate the importance of organizational learning in the flexibility of a business, as it allows even-paced, widely diverse adaptation of individuals and teams as units to new ideas without slowing down or learning models that can cost expensive manpower and time." So that's the importance of learning in an organization. And basically it's summed up as through learning, this is how we get everywhere else, and this is how we obtain all the new knowledge and be able to better function as an organization. The next concept or piece is creativity. Now, creativity has always been at the heart of business. A recent Harvard Business Review states, quote, "The ability to create something novel and appropriate, creativity is essential to the entrepreneurship that gets new businesses started and that sustains the best companies after they have reached the global scale." End quote. Dr. Teresa Amabile, professor of business administration in the entrepreneurial management unity at Harvard Business School, explained that there are certain qualities within individuals that influence this creativity of which we discussed earlier. She first starts off by discussing special qualities in the personality of the problem solver or leader. And some of those special qualities include persistence, curiosity, energy, and intellectual honesty. Some of the other qualities go with self-motivation, and this basically just is being self-driven, being a person that's excited by the work itself, enthusiastic, and attracted to the challenge but not the problem, and also having a sense of working on something important and believing in or on the commitment or the idea. So she just basically discussed that these are the qualities of individuals, specifically mentors, leaders, managers. And she states that this is the first priority of leadership, and that the first priority of leadership is to engage the right people at the right times in the right degree of creative work. So it's a formula for success. Dr. Amabile later goes on by stating that in addition to qualities of individuals, there's also various qualities within environments that help influence and spark and create that creativity. Some of them include freedom in what to do or how to accomplish a task, and a sense of control over one's own work and ideas. And then she goes down to discuss specifically like a good project management, which would be a manager who serves as a good role model, is enthusiastic, has good communication skills, protects the project team from outside distractions and interference, matches tasks to worker skills and interests, and sets a clear direction without managing too tightly. Now, I think we can all think back to a specific manager which maybe modeled these roles. And for me personally, thinking back to this, being able to think of certain of my managers have been able to model these things, we've seen a lot of success within our organizations or departments because of this. And like I mentioned earlier, it's all a formula for success. The third piece that we'll discuss is innovation. Successful innovators pick up where the creative process leaves off. So it's all basically a cycle. Starts off with learning, goes to being creative or creativity, and then innovation. Today's business environment is rapidly changing. According to Harvard Managed Mentor, quote, new technologies, governmental regulations, and global market conditions are forcing companies to quickly develop new products and differentiate their service offerings while increasing productivity and cost efficiency. To maintain their competitive advantage, companies need to innovate, close quote. The traditional view of creativity is that without structure, it isn't obligated to abide by rules or patterns. We're typically encouraged to, quote, think outside the box, end quote, where we address a problem or concern and then brainstorm ideas for a solution. I did a little bit of research on this concept to see the benefits, the pros and cons, and whatnot. And I actually came across an article in the Wall Street Journal called Think Inside the Box. It's an article written by Drew Boyd and Jacob Goldenberg. Now, according to Boyd and Goldenberg, a totally different approach is actually encouraged as it brings on creativity. That is, thinking inside the box. They believe that people are most creative when they focus primarily on the internal aspects of a situation or problem, and when they constrain their opinions rather than broaden them. They continue to argue that their method works by taking a product, concept, situation, service, or process, and then breaking it into components or attributes and using one of the following 5 techniques. The innovators can manipulate those ideas to create new ideas that can be put to use. I'm going to go over those ideas right now. They are subtraction, so just basically to remove seemingly essential elements. Number 2, task unification, bringing together unrelated tasks or functions. 3, multiplication, copy a component and then alter it. Number 4, division, so basically just separate the components of a product or service and rearrange them. And the last one, attribute dependency. So just make the attributes of a product change in response to changes in another attribute or in the surrounding environment. According to Dr. Teresa M. Amabile, there are 3 components to create the ideal model of innovation within an organization. And those are resources, techniques, and motivation. The creativity section is the area of overlap between the 3 components. And this is the area of highest creativity for individuals and highest innovation for organizations. Both Boyd and Goldenberg, the 2 men that wrote that article I mentioned earlier, believe that quote, inventions can be extraordinary, but invention isn't an extraordinary event or an activity for a specialized group, nor is creativity reserved for the gifted and the talented. In fact, it's a skill that can be learned and mastered by anyone, if approached properly. Like so much else in life, the more it's practiced, the more skillful at it we become. Now, if we go a little back to Eric Embry's quote that stated at the beginning of this presentation. That question was, so how can we create organizations that are capable of dealing with the complexity of modern life? How can we create organizations that can learn and get smarter and be more innovative and creative and come up with solutions to the problems that arise out of the modern world? Our answer lies in these 3 pieces that we discussed earlier: learning, creativity, and innovation.